ChatGPT attracted more than 100 million users in just a couple of months. So that shows you, and literally every business now is impacted by AI because it hits all the business processes. It's definitely disrupting industries. Of course, there are industries that are more impacted than others. So most people think about AI in terms of the Terminator or some robots trying to kill us. So I like to reframe that a little bit and speak about the 5 AI archetypes that you will find out there.
In business, artificial intelligence has a wide range of uses. In fact, most of us interact with AI in some form or the other on a daily basis. From mundane to breathtaking, AI is already disrupting many different processes in different industries. How then can a business navigate the complex AI landscape and take advantage of it? I'm your host Anushka, and in this episode, we'll talk about how will AI impact your business, and we have with us Tobias. Tobias has more than 15 years of professional experience in a corporate setting, and he's also the co-founder of a German AI startup, RAPYD.AI. Welcome to the show, Tobias.
Hello, Anushka. Hi, I'm great to be here.
So I think the very first question, right off the start, is just a curiosity on why should people care about AI use cases, or why is it important to use AI use cases?
I think it's important because AI is not only limited anymore to like computer technology, but it's really impacting us on a broad scale. ChatGPT attracted more than 100 million users in just a couple of months. So that shows you how impactful that can be. And literally every business now is impacted by AI because it hits all the business processes. So that's why every business should think about their own AI strategy.
I think it's also disrupting industries. Would that make sense?
It's definitely disrupting industries. Of course, there are industries that are more impacted than others. So if we look at the marketing or copywriting industry, these are really hit by AI. For other industries, that have made experiments with AI, for example, in the automotive industry, even in healthcare, like these industries are more subject to a regulated status in some areas. So, that's a different story there. But I think there are really, especially in digital businesses, a lot of industries that really see a major shift or impact by this new technology.
I mean, I completely agree with you. It just depends on the industry, but I think each and every industry is impacted by AI. So the very next natural question would be, how can one understand the fundamental capabilities of AI, and how can they try to understand how AI can be of use for them?
Yeah, sure. So most people think about AI in terms of the Terminator or some robots trying to kill us. So I like to reframe that a little bit and speak about the 5 AI archetypes that you will find out there. And I'll just go quickly through those 5 AI archetypes. So first of all, you have computer vision, a technology that allows computers to see and interpret images. You have natural language processing that allows computers to understand human language. You have speech to text or text to speech that allows computers to turn audio, especially voice, into text and vice versa. You have AutoML, a technology that allows you to predict tabular data, certain columns in tabular data, and make predictions on that. And finally, you have a new technology just coming up, generative AI, which is all the hype right now, that allows you, or as a user, to create new media, new content that could be text, but it could also be images. These these models are often multimodal, but we especially see big advancements here in the space of LLMs, which is large language models, that is a subcategory of generative AI.
I'm very curious to know, with your experience of working in this field for how long you've been working here, the 5 blocks that you just talked about, can you just briefly tell us some of the industries where they would really fit well and they would be of great use for these specific industries, the 5 blocks you talked about?
Yeah, of course. So I think especially AutoML, that's something that I have used personally quite a lot in the customer analytics space when it comes about predicting customer churn, or when it comes of predicting the next best offer for a customer. So it can be really used in a lot of marketing, and sales scenarios. LLMs, that is generative AI, as I said, is really disrupting the whole copywriting and marketing industry as well. So whenever you want to write digital or create digital content, like landing page copy or copy for your e-commerce stores, or writing blog posts, things like that, you can really be really beneficial there. We have seen great use cases for computer vision, for example, in traffic management and traffic monitoring, but also in quite mundane business processes where you want to, for example, analyze documents, PDF documents, or forms that have been stored in an analog way, and now you want to digitalize them. So these are some industries that really benefit from these technologies.
And then how can this impact a business process for an organization or for an entrepreneur?
So a lot of things, a lot of use cases come down to automation,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the very beginning. You can use AI to automate business processes. Take the example of extracting information from PDF forms or from unstructured documents that you have in your organization. So previously, you might need a human in order to take this information from those documents and put that into a database or into another business process. But now you can use AI in order to assist those humans doing that and make that much more faster and more efficient by, for example, just reading in a PDF document, making suggestions of what is included in that PDF document. So the user just has to accept or maybe correct some things here and there, and this definitely speeds up the whole process. So automation is definitely one area. The other one I would call out is prediction. So you can use AI to identify the patterns that happened in the past in data and exploit these patterns to make predictions for future events and help you to anticipate, future outcomes or future events that might be happening. As for example, churning customers, so you can proactively approach them and make custom offers or personalized offers in order to retain them for your company. And yeah, these are two examples of use cases that benefit from AI.
I think we also talked about a little bit about the story mapping framework. Would you want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, sure. So a story mapping framework is something that I always recommend to do when you want to explore AI possibilities for your business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a very simple and straightforward technique. I talked about that in my book, AI Powered Business Intelligence, in more detail. But on a high
Mm-hmm.
level overview, what you do is you contrast an existing business process and an AI powered business process step by step. What is the setup? What are the expected outcomes? What are the actions? And what are the results of these business processes? Because a lot of people make the mistake of jumping into AI directly without actually thinking through of what the impact is. Churn prediction, for example, is a good example. AI can be really great at predicting what customers are going to leave your company, but if you don't have any idea of what to do with that information, it will be a very poor use case. And that's where story mapping comes in. So you contrast a business process, how it runs currently. For example, in this churn prediction example, it could be that you're just reacting on customer complaints that are coming in, so you're really acting reactively on complaints that customers have. And a predictive churn like prevention approach would involve flagging these critical customers automatically, so you can actively reach out and just contrasting that and then trying to figure out what the impact of that would be. I think this really helps you a lot to figure out what the impact is of your use case and also prioritize that in your overall use case roadmap.
What do you think about the feasibility when it comes to AI for businesses?
Yeah, so a lot of things boil down to the data quality.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be aware if you actually have enough data to train your own AI systems, and if this data has like a good fit for training these AI models. But even if you don't have enough data, there might still be a potential for you to use AI, because in the end, AI is also like a plain make or buy decision, like so many other things in businesses. So you have to decide whether you want to buy an AI service off the shelf, from one of the big vendors out there, or if you want to build your own AI services for your own custom business use cases. And this make or buy approach ultimately boils down to A, is it feasible for you to train your own AI model, and also B, is it reasonable to do that? Like, do you have enough impact in order to spend all that capacity and resources on training your AI model? And that's why I think it's so important at the very beginning to think about your use cases in terms of feasibility and also business
Mm-hmm.
impact. And once you have those two dimensions, I think it's really easy or easier to map out your use case roadmap and decide on the ways forward, and also decide what will be the use cases that you are going to build by yourself, and which
Mm-hmm.
are the things which you're going just to outsource to other services.
Absolutely. I think we've already established how important AI is going to be, if it's not already important for businesses. What would your comments be on building, a roadmap when it comes to AI, when it comes to businesses leveraging AI?
Yeah, so as I said, I would first try to map out my use cases in terms of feasibility and impact. And then once you have done that, you could do two things. You could, first of all, identify low hanging fruit. These are use cases which have a very high feasibility, but maybe a low business impact, but it's really easy for you to do them. And you could identify your champion use cases, like use cases that have a very high business impact that could be really strategic for your business, but that are maybe not so feasible right now because maybe you don't have the data yet, you don't have the data quality yet, maybe though you don't have the resources yet, but it could be a one use case that is really good potentially in the future. And those low hanging fruit use cases, they help you to build a roadmap to achieve those higher value use cases later on. And ideally, you align your AI strategy in a way that these use cases build on top of each other. So it often comes down to focusing on certain business domains or on certain data domains in your business, because it's much better to really dive deep in one of those domains instead of like trying to build a bunch of business cases on like completely different data domains in your business and not having this compounding effect. Like if you build your AI strategy, you want to have that compounding effect, because like, if you don't have this compounding effect, you will never reach the place where you can do those high impact and not so yet feasible business cases, because you need to buy in for them and you need to sell the long-term vision and strategy and also showcase achievements on the way to get there. So that's why I think this is really critical of mapping this out and making sure you have a good alignment between those two types of use cases, I guess.
I completely agree with you. I mean, you mentioned that generative AI is something that is really helpful for people who belong to this, creative field of marketing and copywriting. And I am that person who is taking advantage of it. And I've been doing it for, months now. And I just hope whoever listens to this episode is, it just sees the potential there is when it comes to AI. And I hope there is, they take away really key insights from this episode and understand that, there are a lot of use cases out there and they can really try to understand how this new AI can be leveraged when it comes to their business. So thank you once again, Tobias, for coming and doing this episode with us. I hope it was very insightful for our listeners. And thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Anushka. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of TopConnect. If you have any questions related to the topic, check out the link in the description below. As promised, we have something unique for you. Here's your chance to win a one-on-one call with Tobias. All you need to do is post the top 3 learnings that you've taken away from this episode on your social media. Don't forget to tag TopMate and Tobias. I'm Anushka and you're listening to TopConnect, an educational podcast by TopMate, hosted and produced by me.